Dive into the serene depths of the ocean, not as a swimmer, but as a silent observer of the most fundamental element of life, carbon. Imagine drifting slowly, weightlessly, through the water column, illuminated only by the faint, ethereal glow of bioluminescent creatures. This isn't just a visual journey. It's a journey of understanding, a voyage into the heart of the ocean's biogeochemistry, where carbon atoms embark on epic, millennia-long adventures. Our focus tonight is the slow, almost imperceptible, yet profoundly important journeys of carbon atoms through the deep ocean. We begin at the surface, where sunlight kisses the waves and phytoplankton, microscopic marine plants, perform their daily miracle, photosynthesis. These tiny organisms, invisible to the naked eye, are the foundation of the marine food web and the primary gatekeepers of carbon. They absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, transforming it into organic matter, sugars, carbohydrates, proteins, the building blocks of life. This process is the first step in the ocean's carbon cycle, a cycle that rivals the Amazon rainforest in its importance to global climate regulation. Now, picture a single carbon atom, freshly incorporated into a phytoplankton cell. Its journey has just begun. This atom might remain within the phytoplankton for only a short time, perhaps a few days or weeks, before the phytoplankton is consumed by a zooplankton, a tiny marine animal. The carbon atom then becomes part of the zooplankton's biomass, fueling its growth and activities. But the journey doesn't end there. The zooplankton, in turn, might be eaten by a small fish, and the fish by a larger predator, and so on, up the food chain. With each transfer, some of the carbon is released back into the water as carbon dioxide through respiration, the process by which organisms convert organic matter into energy. However, a significant portion of the carbon takes a different path, a path that leads to the deep ocean. When phytoplankton and zooplankton die, their remains sink slowly towards the seabed like a gentle snowfall. This marine snow, as it's often called, is a constant rain of organic matter that sustains life in the dark, cold depths. As a marine snow descends, it's consumed by bacteria and other decomposers, which break down the organic matter and release carbon dioxide and other nutrients back into the water. This process is known as remineralization. But not all the organic matter is remineralized in the upper layers of the ocean. Some of it reaches the seafloor, where it accumulates in the sediments. Over time, these sediments can be buried and transformed into sedimentary rocks, such as limestone, effectively locking away the carbon for millions of years. This is a crucial long-term carbon sink, helping to regulate Earth's climate over geological timescales. The deep ocean itself is a vast reservoir of dissolved inorganic carbon, primarily in the form of bicarbonate and carbonate ions. This carbon has accumulated over centuries, transported from the surface waters through a process called the solubility pump. Cold water can hold more dissolved gases, including carbon dioxide, than warm water. As surface waters cool in the polar regions, they absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and then sink to the deep ocean, carrying the carbon with them. This cold, carbon-rich water then slowly spreads throughout the ocean basins, sequestering the carbon for centuries or even millennia. The ocean currents play a vital role in this process, acting as conveyor belts that transport carbon around the globe. The thermohaline circulation, a global system of ocean currents driven by differences in temperature and salinity, is particularly important. This circulation pattern takes centuries to complete a full cycle, meaning that carbon sequestered in the deep ocean can remain there for a very long time. However, the ocean's ability to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere is not unlimited. As the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases due to human activities, the ocean absorbs more of it, leading to ocean acidification. This process can have significant impacts on marine ecosystems, particularly on organisms that build shells and skeletons from calcium carbonate, such as corals and shellfish. Ocean acidification makes it more difficult for these organisms to build and maintain their shells, threatening their survival and the health of the ecosystems they support. Imagine a coral reef, once vibrant and teeming with life, slowly dissolving under the influence of acidic waters. The delicate balance of the marine ecosystem is disrupted, with cascading effects throughout the food web. This is not a hypothetical scenario. It's a reality that is already unfolding in many parts of the world. Beyond ocean acidification, rising ocean temperatures also affect the carbon cycle. Warmer waters hold less dissolved carbon dioxide, reducing the ocean's capacity to absorb carbon from the atmosphere. Furthermore, warmer temperatures can increase the rate of respiration by marine organisms, releasing more carbon dioxide back into the water. Scientists are using a variety of techniques to study the ocean's carbon cycle, from satellite observations to deep-sea moorings. They are tracking the movement of carbon atoms through the ocean, measuring the rates of photosynthesis and respiration, and assessing the impacts of ocean acidification and warming. This research is crucial for understanding the complex interactions between the ocean, the atmosphere, and the climate system. Consider the use of isotopic tracers, where scientists track the movement of specific carbon isotopes through the ocean. These isotopes act like tiny labels, allowing researchers to follow the carbon's journey from the surface to the deep ocean and back again. This technique provides valuable insights into the rates and pathways of carbon cycling. The deep ocean, often perceived as a dark and desolate place, is actually a vibrant ecosystem teeming with life. Deep-sea bacteria, for example, play a critical role in breaking down organic matter and releasing nutrients back into the water. These bacteria are adapted to the extreme conditions of the deep ocean, including high pressure, low temperature, and complete darkness. Picture a deep-sea hydrothermal vent, where superheated water rich in chemicals spews from the seafloor. These vents support unique communities of organisms that thrive in the absence of sunlight, using chemosynthesis to produce energy from chemical compounds. These ecosystems are a testament to the resilience and adaptability of life on Earth. The ocean's carbon cycle is a complex and dynamic system, constantly influenced by a variety of factors, including climate change, human activities, and natural variability. Understanding this cycle is essential for predicting the future of our planet and for developing strategies to mitigate the impacts of climate change. Let's visualize the ocean as a giant lung, breathing in carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and exhaling oxygen. This analogy highlights the ocean's vital role in regulating Earth's climate and supporting life on our planet. By protecting our oceans, we are protecting ourselves and future generations. As we drift further into the night, let the gentle rhythm of the ocean waves lull you into a peaceful sleep. Remember the incredible journey of carbon atoms through the deep ocean, a journey that connects us all to the vastness and wonder of our planet. Sweet dreams, and may your sleep be as deep and restorative as the ocean depths. Now, consider the tiny phytoplankton, those microscopic plants drifting near the ocean surface. They are the foundation of the marine food web and play a monumental role in carbon sequestration. Through photosynthesis, they absorb vast amounts of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and convert it into organic matter. When these phytoplankton die, some of their carbon-rich remains sink to the deep ocean, effectively removing carbon from the surface and atmosphere for decades, centuries, or even millennia. This process is known as the biological pump, and it's a critical component of the ocean's carbon cycle. Think about the sheer scale of this process. Billions upon billions of these tiny organisms are constantly absorbing carbon and then sinking, carrying that carbon to the depths. It's like a slow, steady rain of organic matter falling onto the ocean floor, nourishing deep-sea ecosystems and locking away carbon in the sediments. These sediments, over geological timescales, can eventually transform into rocks like limestone, further sequestering carbon for millions of years. The biological pump isn't just one process. It encompasses a complex interplay of factors, from the availability of nutrients like iron and nitrogen to the grazing pressure from zooplankton. Changes in any of these factors can significantly impact the efficiency of the pump and the amount of carbon that's ultimately sequestered. We also need to consider the role of ocean currents in distributing carbon. The ocean is not a stagnant body of water. It's a dynamic system of currents, both surface and deep, that circulate around the globe. These currents act like conveyor belts, transporting carbon-rich water from one region to another. For example, the North Atlantic deep water, a cold, dense current that forms in the Arctic, carries large amounts of dissolved inorganic carbon southward, effectively redistributing carbon throughout the ocean. Upwelling, the process where deep, nutrient-rich water rises to the surface, also plays a crucial role. While upwelling brings essential nutrients to support phytoplankton growth, it also brings dissolved carbon dioxide back to the surface, where it can potentially be released back into the atmosphere. The balance between these processes, carbon sequestration through the biological pump and carbon release through upwelling, determines the ocean's overall capacity to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. The ocean's carbon cycle is also intimately linked to the global climate. As atmospheric carbon dioxide levels rise due to human activities, the ocean absorbs a significant portion of this excess CO2. While this helps to mitigate climate change by reducing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, it also has consequences for the ocean itself. The absorption of CO2 leads to ocean acidification, a process that lowers the pH of seawater and makes it more difficult for marine organisms, such as shellfish and corals, to build and maintain their shells and skeletons. Ocean acidification is a serious threat to marine ecosystems and could have cascading effects throughout the food web. Imagine the intricate dance between the atmosphere and the ocean, a constant exchange of gases and energy. The ocean acts as a buffer, absorbing some of the excess heat trapped by greenhouse gases, but this comes at a cost. Warmer ocean temperatures can also impact the ocean's ability to absorb carbon dioxide, creating a feedback loop that could accelerate climate change. Understanding these complex interactions is critical for predicting the future of our planet and for developing effective strategies to address the challenges of climate change. And now, as the night deepens, let your thoughts drift back to the ocean depths. Picture the slow, relentless currents carrying carbon atoms on their long journey. Think of the tiny phytoplankton silently working to sequester carbon and support life in the ocean. Visualize the deep-sea ecosystems thriving in the darkness and playing a vital role in the global carbon cycle. The ocean's carbon cycle is a story of interconnectedness, a reminder that we are all part of a larger system. Allow this knowledge to soothe your mind and prepare you for a peaceful night's sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean, and may you wake up refreshed and ready to face the day. Sleep well. Consider also the geological timescale at play within the ocean's carbon cycle. Over millennia, carbon is slowly but surely locked away in the ocean sediments. The shells and skeletons of marine organisms, once teeming with life, eventually sink to the ocean floor. Layer upon layer, these calcium carbonate remains accumulate, forming vast deposits that, over geological epochs, transform into limestone and other sedimentary rocks. This long-term carbon sequestration acts as a crucial regulator of Earth's climate, drawing carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere and storing it in the planet's crust. Think of it as the ocean's way of archiving carbon, a slow and steady process that has shaped the Earth's climate for billions of years. This process contrasts sharply with the relatively rapid release of carbon into the atmosphere from the burning of fossil fuels, highlighting the importance of preserving these natural carbon sinks. The deep ocean, a realm of perpetual darkness and immense pressure, plays a pivotal role in this long-term carbon storage. The cold, dense waters of the deep ocean can hold significantly more dissolved carbon dioxide than warmer surface waters. These deep waters, formed in the polar regions, slowly sink and spread throughout the ocean basins, carrying with them a vast reservoir of carbon. This process, known as the solubility pump, is a crucial mechanism for regulating the Earth's climate. Furthermore, the deep ocean is home to unique ecosystems that rely on chemosynthesis, a process where organisms use chemical energy rather than sunlight to produce organic matter. These chemosynthetic communities, often found near hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, play a role in the local carbon cycle, utilizing dissolved carbon compounds for energy. And as you continue to relax, let's consider the human impact on this delicate balance. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and other human activities have significantly increased the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This excess carbon dioxide is not only contributing to climate change, but also disrupting the ocean's natural carbon cycle. The ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide is not limitless, and as it absorbs more and more CO2, the ocean becomes more acidic. This ocean acidification poses a serious threat to marine life, particularly to organisms with calcium carbonate shells and skeletons. It also affects the saturation state of aragonite and calcite, the minerals that these organisms use to build their structures, making it more difficult for them to thrive. Understanding these impacts is crucial for developing sustainable practices that minimize our carbon footprint and protect the health of our oceans. Now let your mind wander back to the image of the phytoplankton, those microscopic powerhouses of the ocean. They are the foundation of the marine food web and play a vital role in the biological pump, drawing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and converting it into organic matter. Imagine the vast blooms of phytoplankton stretching across the ocean's surface, silently sequestering carbon. Consider the intricate web of life that depends on them, from the smallest zooplankton to the largest whales. The health of these phytoplankton communities is essential for maintaining the ocean's carbon cycle and for supporting marine ecosystems. Factors such as nutrient availability, water temperature, and ocean acidity can all impact phytoplankton growth and productivity, highlighting the complex interplay of factors that influence the ocean's carbon cycle. As you drift closer to sleep, remember the immense scale and complexity of the ocean's carbon cycle. It is a story of interconnectedness, a reminder that everything is connected. From the atmosphere to the deep ocean sediments, carbon atoms are constantly cycling through the Earth system. Understanding this cycle is crucial for predicting the future of our planet and for developing effective strategies to address the challenges of climate change. Let this knowledge bring you comfort, knowing that even in the face of global challenges, there are natural processes at work, constantly striving to maintain balance. Allow yourself to be lulled to sleep by the gentle rhythm of the ocean, and may your dreams be filled with peace and tranquility. Good night. Now let's delve deeper into the processes that govern the fate of this carbon, the journey it undertakes after being captured by these tiny organisms. Picture the sinking process, often referred to as marine snow. As phytoplankton die or are consumed by zooplankton, their remains, along with fecal pellets, begin to descend through the water column. This slow, steady rain of organic matter carries carbon from the surface ocean to the depths below. It's a beautiful image, isn't it? This constant downward flow is a crucial component of the biological pump, effectively transferring carbon away from the atmosphere and into the deep ocean, where it can be stored for centuries, even millennia. Think about the sheer scale of this process. Billions upon billions of these particles are constantly sinking, each one carrying a small amount of carbon. Over time, this adds up to a significant amount of carbon being sequestered in the deep ocean. But the journey isn't over yet. As this organic matter sinks, it is gradually broken down by bacteria and other microorganisms. This process, known as remineralization, releases the carbon back into the water in the form of dissolved inorganic carbon, the same form it was in when it first entered the ocean. Some of this carbon is then taken up by other organisms, continuing the cycle. However, some of the organic matter escapes remineralization and reaches the seafloor. Here, it accumulates in the sediments, forming a vast reservoir of carbon. Over long periods of time, this carbon can be buried and transformed into fossil fuels like oil and gas. This is a crucial long-term storage mechanism for carbon, effectively removing it from the active carbon cycle for millions of years. Imagine the immense pressure and slow geological processes at work, gradually transforming organic matter into these valuable resources. It's a testament to the power of time and the interconnectedness of Earth systems. Consider also the role of ocean currents in distributing carbon throughout the ocean. These currents act like a global conveyor belt, transporting carbon-rich water from one region to another. Surface currents, driven by wind and temperature differences, move carbon quickly across vast distances. Deep ocean currents, driven by density differences, move carbon even slower, allowing for long-term storage in the deep ocean basins. The interplay between these currents creates a complex and dynamic system that plays a crucial role in regulating the global carbon cycle. Visualize these massive currents slowly but surely circulating the ocean, carrying carbon along with them, connecting different parts of the world in a continuous exchange. Now, as you continue to relax, let's briefly touch upon the chemical processes involved in the ocean's carbon cycle. The ocean is not just a passive recipient of carbon. It actively participates in a series of chemical reactions that influence the fate of carbon. For example, the dissolution of carbon dioxide in seawater is influenced by temperature and salinity. Colder water can hold more carbon dioxide than warmer water, and more saline water can hold more carbon dioxide than less saline water. These factors play a crucial role in determining the ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Think about the cold, dense waters of the Arctic and Antarctic regions, acting as major sinks for atmospheric carbon dioxide. Furthermore, the ocean's pH also plays a critical role. As carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it reacts with water to form carbonic acid, which lowers the pH of the ocean. This process, known as ocean acidification, has significant implications for marine life, particularly for organisms with calcium carbonate shells and skeletons. As the ocean becomes more acidic, it becomes more difficult for these organisms to build and maintain their shells, potentially impacting entire marine ecosystems. It's a delicate balance, and human activities are disrupting this balance at an alarming rate. Finally, as you gently drift off to sleep, reflect on the resilience of the ocean's carbon cycle. Despite the challenges posed by climate change and human activities, the ocean continues to play a vital role in regulating the global carbon cycle. It is a testament to the power of natural processes and the interconnectedness of Earth systems. Understanding these processes is crucial for developing effective strategies to protect our oceans and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Allow yourself to be comforted by the vastness and complexity of the ocean, knowing that even in the face of uncertainty, there is beauty and resilience to be found. Let the gentle rhythm of the waves lull you into a peaceful slumber, and may your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean. Sleep well, but the story doesn't end with simple dissolution and acidification. The ocean is far more dynamic than a mere chemical soup. Consider the biological pump, a fascinating process that actively transports carbon from the surface waters to the deep ocean. It all begins with phytoplankton, microscopic marine plants that, like their terrestrial counterparts, use photosynthesis to convert carbon dioxide and sunlight into energy. These tiny organisms form the base of the marine food web, supporting a vast array of life. When phytoplankton die, or when they're consumed by zooplankton and other marine animals, their carbon-rich remains begin to sink. This sinking organic matter, often referred to as marine snow, carries carbon down through the water column. A portion of this sinking carbon is consumed and respired by organisms at different depths, releasing carbon dioxide back into the water. However, a significant amount of this organic matter eventually reaches the seafloor, where it accumulates and is buried in the sediments. Over long geological timescales, this buried organic carbon can be transformed into fossil fuels, such as oil and natural gas, effectively sequestering carbon away from the atmosphere for millions of years. Think of it as a slow, steady rain of carbon, constantly falling from the sunlit surface waters to the dark, cold depths below. This biological pump is a crucial component of the ocean's carbon cycle, playing a vital role in regulating atmospheric carbon dioxide levels and mitigating climate change. The efficiency of the biological pump is influenced by a variety of factors, including nutrient availability, water temperature, and the composition of the marine community. Changes in these factors can have significant impacts on the amount of carbon that is transported to the deep ocean and sequestered in the sediments. Furthermore, the ocean circulation patterns also play a significant role in the carbon cycle. The global ocean conveyor belt, a system of interconnected currents that circulate water around the globe, transports carbon-rich water from the surface to the deep ocean and back again. This circulation pattern helps to distribute carbon throughout the ocean and influences the distribution of nutrients and other essential elements. Cold, dense water that sinks in the polar regions carries large amounts of dissolved carbon dioxide into the deep ocean, where it can remain for centuries. This process helps to remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it in the deep ocean. Upwelling, the process by which deep, nutrient-rich water rises to the surface, brings carbon dioxide back to the surface, where it can be released back into the atmosphere. The balance between these processes, sinking and upwelling, determines the overall effect of ocean circulation on the carbon cycle. It's a complex interplay of physical and biological processes, all working together to regulate the flow of carbon through the ocean in the atmosphere. And then there's the role of marine organisms in creating calcium carbonate structures, like shells and coral reefs. Many marine organisms, from tiny plankton to large shellfish, use calcium and carbonate ions from seawater to build their shells and skeletons. When these organisms die, their calcium carbonate remains sink to the seafloor and accumulate in the sediments. Over time, these sediments can be transformed into limestone rock, effectively locking away carbon for millions of years. This process, known as carbonate sedimentation, is another important mechanism for long-term carbon sequestration in the ocean. The formation of coral reefs, in particular, is a significant carbon sink, as coral reefs are among the most productive and diverse ecosystems on Earth. They provide habitat for a vast array of marine life and play a crucial role in coastal protection and nutrient cycling. The beauty of the ocean's carbon cycle lies in its intricate web of interactions. It's a delicate dance between physical, chemical, and biological processes, all working in harmony to regulate the flow of carbon through the Earth system. As you drift off to sleep, imagine the countless microscopic organisms, the vast ocean currents, and the ancient geological processes that are all part of this remarkable cycle. Allow yourself to be amazed by the complexity and resilience of the ocean, and let its calming presence guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Sweet dreams. Now let's consider the human impact on this delicate balance. Our activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels, have significantly increased the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. This excess carbon dioxide is then absorbed by the ocean, leading to ocean acidification. When carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it forms carbonic acid, which lowers the ocean's pH. This acidification poses a serious threat to marine organisms, especially those that build shells and skeletons from calcium carbonate. As the ocean becomes more acidic, it becomes more difficult for these organisms to extract the carbonate ions they need to build their protective structures. Coral reefs, in particular, are highly vulnerable to ocean acidification. The increased acidity can weaken their skeletons, making them more susceptible to erosion and disease. This can have devastating consequences for the entire reef ecosystem, as coral reefs provide habitat for a vast array of marine species. Beyond acidification, rising ocean temperatures also impact the carbon cycle. Warmer water holds less dissolved gas, including carbon dioxide. As the ocean warms, it may become less efficient at absorbing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, potentially accelerating climate change. Changes in ocean circulation patterns can also disrupt the carbon cycle. Alterations in currents like the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, can affect the distribution of heat and nutrients, impacting the productivity of marine ecosystems and the transport of carbon to the deep ocean. Furthermore, melting glaciers and ice sheets contribute to sea level rise and can alter ocean salinity, which can also affect circulation patterns and carbon uptake. It's important to remember that the ocean's carbon cycle is not a static system. It's constantly evolving and responding to changes in the environment. Understanding the complex interactions within this cycle is crucial for predicting the future impacts of climate change and developing strategies to mitigate these impacts. Scientists are using a variety of tools and techniques to study the ocean's carbon cycle, from satellite observations to ship-based measurements and sophisticated computer models. These efforts are helping us to better understand the role of the ocean in regulating the Earth's climate and to develop more accurate predictions of future climate change scenarios. Think about the vastness and depth of the ocean, a realm still largely unexplored. Within its depths lie countless secrets and undiscovered processes that play a vital role in shaping our planet. The carbon cycle, with all its intricacies, is just one piece of this puzzle. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of the ocean, we gain a deeper appreciation for the interconnectedness of all life on Earth and the importance of protecting this precious resource. Allow the image of the deep ocean, silently absorbing and storing carbon, to lull you into a state of tranquility. Imagine the gentle currents, the slow accumulation of sediments, and the tireless work of marine organisms, all contributing to this essential process. Let the rhythm of the ocean's carbon cycle be your guide as you drift off to sleep. Good night. The microbial loop, a fascinating component of the ocean's carbon cycle, deserves special attention. Tiny organisms, bacteria, and archaea play a pivotal role in remineralizing organic matter. When phytoplankton die or release dissolved organic carbon, DOC, these microbes consume it, effectively converting it back into inorganic forms. This process, while seemingly simple, is incredibly important. It prevents a large portion of organic carbon from sinking to the deep ocean and instead recycles it within the surface layers, making it available again for phytoplankton growth. Think of it as a constant churning and transformation of carbon, driven by these microscopic powerhouses. The efficiency of the microbial loop can vary depending on factors like temperature, nutrient availability, and the composition of the microbial community itself. Changes in these factors, driven by climate change or pollution, can have significant consequences for the overall efficiency of carbon cycling in the ocean. Another key aspect to consider is the role of marine snow. This isn't actual snow, of course, but rather a continuous shower of organic matter sinking from the surface waters to the deep. Marine snow consists of dead phytoplankton, zooplankton fecal pellets, and other organic debris. As it sinks, it provides a vital food source for deep-sea organisms. But more importantly, it acts as a conveyor belt, transporting carbon from the surface to the deep ocean floor. The amount and composition of marine snow can vary greatly depending on the productivity of the surface waters and the efficiency of the microbial loop. In areas with high phytoplankton blooms, a large amount of marine snow can reach the seafloor, effectively sequestering carbon for long periods. Conversely, in areas with low productivity or a highly efficient microbial loop, less carbon reaches the deep. Furthermore, the ocean's carbon cycle is intricately linked to other biogeochemical cycles, such as the nitrogen and phosphorus cycles. These nutrients are essential for phytoplankton growth, and their availability can influence the rate of carbon uptake. For example, in some regions, the availability of iron, a micronutrient, limits phytoplankton growth and therefore carbon uptake. Introducing iron to these regions, a process known as iron fertilization, has been proposed as a potential geoengineering strategy to enhance carbon sequestration. However, the effectiveness and potential side effects of iron fertilization are still under investigation. The complex interplay between these different biogeochemical cycles highlights the interconnectedness of the ocean system and the challenges of predicting the impacts of human activities. Consider the sediments that blanket the ocean floor. Over immense timescales, these sediments act as a vast reservoir of carbon, organic matter that escapes decomposition in the water column eventually accumulates in the sediments, where it can be buried and transformed into fossil fuels. The rate of carbon accumulation in sediments is influenced by factors like the rate of marine snow deposition, the oxygen levels in the bottom waters, and the activity of benthic organisms. In areas with low oxygen levels, decomposition is slowed and more organic matter is preserved. These areas, often referred to as oxygen minimum zones, can be important sites of carbon sequestration. The study of marine sediments provides valuable insights into past climate conditions and the long-term dynamics of the ocean's carbon cycle. So, as you close your eyes, imagine the slow, relentless rain of marine snow drifting through the dark depths. Picture the tireless microbes recycling organic matter, the deep-sea currents transporting carbon-rich waters, and the vast sediments accumulating on the ocean floor. The ocean's carbon cycle is a story of constant motion, transformation, and interconnectedness, a story that plays out on a grand scale, shaping our planet's climate and supporting life in all its forms. Let the gentle rhythm of this cycle soothe you, guiding you towards a peaceful and restful sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean and the quiet beauty of the deep. Sweet dreams. Now, let's drift a little further into the complexities of the ocean's carbon cycle, considering the role of different ocean regions. The Arctic Ocean, for example, is undergoing dramatic changes due to climate change, with melting sea ice exposing more open water. This increased open water allows for greater phytoplankton growth, potentially leading to enhanced carbon uptake. However, the Arctic is also receiving increasing amounts of fresh water from melting glaciers and river runoff, which can alter the salinity and stratification of the water column, potentially impacting phytoplankton productivity and the efficiency of the biological pump. Furthermore, the thawing of permafrost along Arctic coastlines releases organic carbon into the ocean, adding another layer of complexity to the Arctic carbon cycle. Understanding these changes is crucial for predicting the future role of the Arctic Ocean in global carbon sequestration. Then there's the Southern Ocean, a vast and stormy realm surrounding Antarctica. This region is characterized by high nutrient concentrations but relatively low phytoplankton biomass, a phenomenon often attributed to iron limitation. The Southern Ocean plays a critical role in regulating global climate, absorbing a significant portion of atmospheric carbon dioxide. The strong winds and upwelling in this region bring deep, nutrient-rich waters to the surface, fueling phytoplankton growth. However, the availability of iron, a crucial micronutrient, limits the extent of this growth. Dust deposition from land, glacial meltwater, and upwelling from iron-rich sediments are the primary sources of iron to the Southern Ocean. Changes in these iron sources, driven by climate change, could significantly alter the Southern Ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide. And we can't forget the crucial role of coastal ecosystems. Mangrove forests, salt marshes, and seagrass beds, often referred to as blue carbon ecosystems, are highly efficient carbon sinks. These coastal habitats capture and store vast amounts of carbon in their biomass and underlying sediments, often exceeding the carbon sequestration rates of terrestrial forests. Mangrove forests, with their intricate root systems, trap sediment and organic matter, creating carbon-rich soils. Salt marshes, inundated by tides, support specialized plants that efficiently sequester carbon in their roots and stems. Seagrass beds, forming underwater meadows, provide habitat for diverse marine life and contribute significantly to carbon storage. Protecting and restoring these blue carbon ecosystems is essential for mitigating climate change and enhancing coastal resilience. Unfortunately, these precious ecosystems are under threat from coastal development, pollution, and climate change itself, making their conservation a critical priority. Think, too, about the influence of ocean acidification. As the ocean absorbs excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, it becomes more acidic. This acidification can have profound effects on marine organisms, particularly those that build shells and skeletons from calcium carbonate, such as corals, shellfish, and some types of plankton. Ocean acidification reduces the availability of carbonate ions, making it more difficult for these organisms to build and maintain their structures. This can lead to weakened shells, reduced growth rates, and increased vulnerability to predators and disease. The impacts of ocean acidification are already being observed in many marine ecosystems, and it poses a significant threat to the health and biodiversity of the ocean. The future of coral reefs, in particular, is closely linked to the rate of ocean acidification. Finally, let's consider the deep sea, the largest and least explored habitat on Earth. The deep sea is a realm of perpetual darkness, cold temperatures, and immense pressure. Despite these harsh conditions, it teems with life, including a vast array of microbes, invertebrates, and fishes. The deep sea plays a critical role in the ocean's carbon cycle, acting as a long-term storage reservoir for organic carbon. Organic matter that sinks to the deep sea floor is slowly decomposed by microbes, releasing nutrients back into the water column. Some of this organic matter is buried in the sediments, where it can remain for centuries or even millennia. The deep sea is also home to hydrothermal vents, which release chemicals from the Earth's interior into the ocean. These vents support unique chemosynthetic ecosystems that derive energy from chemical compounds rather than sunlight. The exploration of the deep sea is revealing new insights into the complexity and importance of the ocean's carbon cycle. So, as you drift deeper into sleep, remember the intricate dance of carbon atoms through the ocean. Imagine the sunlit surface waters teeming with phytoplankton, the dark abyss where organic matter slowly decomposes, and the vast sediments where carbon is stored for eons. The ocean's carbon cycle is a story of constant change, adaptation, and resilience, a story that connects all living things on our planet. Allow this story to lull you into a peaceful slumber, knowing that even in the deepest depths, life finds a way. Let the gentle ebb and flow of the ocean's currents carry you away to a land of dreams. Sleep soundly, and may your mind be filled with the wonders of our blue planet. Good night. The interplay between the ocean and the atmosphere is also crucial to understanding the global carbon cycle. The ocean absorbs a significant amount of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, helping to regulate Earth's climate. However, the ocean's capacity to absorb carbon dioxide is not unlimited. As the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere increases, the ocean becomes more acidic, which can have detrimental effects on marine life, particularly shell-forming organisms. The exchange of carbon between the ocean and the atmosphere is influenced by a variety of factors, including temperature, salinity, and wind patterns. Warmer waters, for example, tend to hold less dissolved gas, including carbon dioxide. Understanding these complex interactions is essential for predicting how the ocean will respond to future climate change. Let's delve a bit deeper into the role of marine organisms in the carbon cycle. Phytoplankton, as we discussed, are the primary producers in the ocean, converting carbon dioxide and sunlight into organic matter through photosynthesis. But they are not the only players. Zooplankton, tiny animals that graze on phytoplankton, also play a significant role in the transfer of carbon through the food web. When zooplankton consume phytoplankton, they incorporate carbon into their own biomass. Some of this carbon is then released back into the water column as waste products, while the rest is transferred to higher trophic levels when zooplankton are eaten by larger organisms. This process of carbon transfer through the food web is known as the biological pump. Furthermore, consider the role of marine bacteria and archaea. These microscopic organisms are ubiquitous in the ocean, and they play a critical role in the decomposition of organic matter. When organic matter sinks to the deep sea floor, it is broken down by bacteria and archaea, releasing nutrients back into the water column. This process is essential for recycling nutrients and sustaining life in the deep sea. Some bacteria and archaea also produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas, which would be released into the atmosphere. The balance between carbon sequestration and carbon release by marine microbes is a key factor in regulating the ocean's carbon cycle. Think about the sediments on the ocean floor. Over millions of years, organic matter that sinks to the sea floor can become buried in sediments. These sediments act as a long-term storage reservoir for carbon. Some of this organic carbon is eventually converted into fossil fuels, such as oil and natural gas. The formation of fossil fuels is a very slow process, taking millions of years. When we burn fossil fuels, we are releasing carbon that has been stored in the Earth's crust for millions of years, contributing to the increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations. The study of marine sediments provides valuable insights into past climate conditions and the long-term dynamics of the carbon cycle. Finally, let's appreciate the interconnectedness of the ocean's carbon cycle with other biogeochemical cycles. The ocean's carbon cycle is intricately linked to the nitrogen cycle, the phosphorus cycle, and the sulfur cycle. These cycles interact in complex ways to regulate the flow of nutrients and energy through marine ecosystems. For example, nitrogen is an essential nutrient for phytoplankton growth, and the availability of nitrogen can influence the rate of carbon uptake by phytoplankton. Similarly, phosphorus is a key component of DNA and other biological molecules, and the availability of phosphorus can limit primary productivity in some regions of the ocean. Understanding these interconnected cycles is crucial for managing marine resources and mitigating the impacts of climate change. So, as you continue to relax and prepare for sleep, visualize the intricate web of interactions that make up the ocean's carbon cycle. Picture the sunlight filtering through the surface waters, fueling the growth of phytoplankton. Imagine the tiny zooplankton grazing on phytoplankton, transferring carbon through the food web. Envision the vast expanse of the deep sea, where organic matter slowly decomposes, releasing nutrients back into the water column. And consider the sediments on the ocean floor, where carbon is stored for millennia. The ocean's carbon cycle is a testament to the complexity and resilience of life on Earth. Let the gentle rhythm of the ocean's processes soothe you into a deep and restful sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the marine world. Sweet dreams. Now let's delve a little deeper into the role of marine organisms in the carbon cycle. We've touched upon phytoplankton and zooplankton, but the ocean is teeming with life, each playing a part in this intricate process. Consider the role of marine mammals, for instance. Whales, dolphins, and seals consume vast quantities of marine life, effectively moving carbon up the food chain. When they die, their bodies sink to the ocean floor, providing a significant pulse of organic carbon to the deep sea ecosystem. This process, known as whale fall, creates a temporary oasis of life on the otherwise barren seafloor, supporting a diverse community of scavengers and decomposers. The carbon stored in their bodies is then gradually released back into the water column through decomposition or becomes incorporated into the sediments. Similarly, fish populations play a critical role in the carbon cycle. Different species have different feeding habits and occupy different trophic levels, influencing the flow of carbon through marine food webs. Some fish species migrate vertically, feeding in surface waters at night and returning to deeper waters during the day. This vertical migration transports carbon from the surface to the deep ocean, contributing to the biological pump. Furthermore, the excretion of waste products by fish releases dissolved organic matter into the water, providing a source of energy for bacteria and other microorganisms. Even the simple act of swimming can affect the distribution of nutrients and carbon in the water column, influencing the growth of phytoplankton and other marine organisms. Beyond the well-known players like phytoplankton and whales, there's a whole world of microscopic organisms that contribute significantly to the ocean's carbon cycle. Bacteria, archaea, and viruses are abundant in the ocean, playing crucial roles in the decomposition of organic matter and the cycling of nutrients. These microorganisms break down complex organic molecules into simpler forms, releasing carbon dioxide and other nutrients back into the water. Some bacteria even consume methane, a potent greenhouse gas, helping to mitigate its impact on the climate. Viruses, though often overlooked, can also influence the carbon cycle by infecting and killing phytoplankton and other marine organisms. This viral lysis releases dissolved organic matter into the water, providing a food source for other microorganisms and influencing the composition of marine microbial communities. The ocean's carbon cycle is not static. It varies in space and time. Different regions of the ocean have different rates of carbon uptake and storage, depending on factors such as nutrient availability, temperature, and light levels. Coastal regions, for example, tend to be more productive than the open ocean due to the influx of nutrients from rivers and land runoff. These nutrient-rich waters support high rates of phytoplankton growth, leading to increased carbon uptake. Upwelling regions, where deep, nutrient-rich waters are brought to the surface, are also hotspots of carbon uptake. In contrast, the subtropical gyres, which are characterized by stable, stratified waters and low nutrient levels, have relatively low rates of carbon uptake. Seasonality also plays a role, with carbon uptake typically peaking during the spring and summer months when sunlight is abundant and phytoplankton growth is high. The deep ocean is a vast reservoir of carbon, and the processes that regulate carbon storage in the deep sea are complex and not fully understood. One important mechanism is the sinking of particulate organic matter, such as dead phytoplankton and fecal pellets from the surface waters. As this organic matter sinks, it is gradually decomposed by bacteria and other organisms, releasing carbon dioxide and other nutrients back into the water column. However, some of this organic matter reaches the seafloor, where it is either buried in the sediments or consumed by benthic organisms. The sediments on the ocean floor represent a long-term sink for carbon, with carbon being stored there for thousands or even millions of years. The rate of carbon burial in the sediments depends on factors such as the rate of organic matter supply, the oxygen concentration in the water, and the activity of benthic organisms. Think of the slow, steady rain of organic matter falling through the water column, a constant supply of sustenance to the creatures living in the perpetual darkness of the deep sea. Imagine the intricate interactions between these organisms, the delicate balance that sustains life in this remote and mysterious environment. Visualize the carbon atoms cycling through this vast ecosystem, moving from one organism to another, eventually being buried in the sediments, where they will remain for eons. The deep ocean is a world of its own, a hidden realm where the secrets of the carbon cycle are slowly being revealed. Now, as you drift closer to sleep, consider the impact of human activities on the ocean's carbon cycle. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and other human activities have led to a significant increase in atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations, which in turn has caused the ocean to absorb more carbon dioxide. While this uptake of carbon dioxide helps to mitigate climate change, it also has negative consequences for the ocean. The absorption of carbon dioxide causes the ocean to become more acidic, a process known as ocean acidification. Ocean acidification can have harmful effects on marine organisms, particularly those with calcium carbonate shells or skeletons, such as corals, shellfish, and plankton. These organisms are essential components of marine ecosystems, and their decline could have cascading effects throughout the food web. The increase in ocean temperature, also driven by climate change, further impacts the carbon cycle. Warmer waters hold less dissolved gas, including carbon dioxide, potentially reducing the ocean's capacity to absorb atmospheric CO2. Moreover, warmer temperatures can alter the metabolic rates of marine organisms, affecting their growth, reproduction, and decomposition rates. These changes can disrupt the delicate balance of the ocean's carbon cycle, potentially leading to further changes in climate. As you breathe deeply and feel your body relax, remember that the ocean is a vital component of the Earth's climate system, playing a crucial role in regulating atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations. The ocean's carbon cycle is a complex and dynamic process, influenced by a multitude of factors, both natural and human-induced. Understanding the ocean's carbon cycle is essential for predicting future climate change and for developing strategies to mitigate its impacts. So, let the knowledge of this intricate and essential cycle lull you into a peaceful slumber. Picture the vastness of the ocean, the interconnectedness of all living things, and the slow, steady rhythm of the carbon cycle. Let the gentle currents of the ocean carry you away to a land of dreams, where the wonders of the marine world await. Sleep soundly, knowing that the ocean is working tirelessly to maintain the balance of our planet. Good night. Now let's delve a bit deeper into the biological pump, a crucial component of the ocean's carbon cycle. Imagine tiny phytoplankton, microscopic plants drifting near the surface, basking in the sunlight. They're the foundation of the marine food web, and they also play a significant role in drawing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Through photosynthesis, they convert carbon dioxide and sunlight into energy, just like plants on land. But unlike terrestrial plants, when these phytoplankton die or are eaten by zooplankton, a significant portion of their carbon sinks down into the deep ocean. This sinking organic matter, often referred to as marine snow, is a slow, steady rain of carbon-rich particles. As it descends, it becomes food for other organisms in the deeper layers of the ocean, like bacteria and other decomposers. These organisms break down the organic matter, releasing carbon dioxide back into the water. However, a portion of this sinking carbon makes it all the way to the ocean floor, where it can be buried in sediments for thousands or even millions of years. Think of it as a long-term storage facility for carbon. These sediments act as a massive carbon reservoir, effectively locking away carbon from the atmosphere. The efficiency of the biological pump, the amount of carbon that sinks to the deep ocean versus the amount that is recycled in the surface waters, is influenced by a variety of factors. Nutrient availability, like iron and nitrogen, plays a crucial role in phytoplankton growth. Regions with abundant nutrients tend to have higher phytoplankton productivity and, therefore, a more efficient biological pump. Ocean currents and upwelling also play a significant role, bringing nutrients from the deep ocean to the surface, fueling phytoplankton blooms and enhancing carbon drawdown. Consider the role of marine animals in the carbon cycle as well. Whales, for example, play a surprisingly significant role. They feed in deep waters and then release fecal plumes near the surface. These plumes are rich in nutrients, stimulating phytoplankton growth. When whales die, their massive bodies sink to the ocean floor, providing a feast for deep-sea scavengers and sequestering a large amount of carbon. This is known as whale fall, and it is a significant carbon sink. Furthermore, the ocean's carbon cycle is intricately linked to other biogeochemical cycles, like the nitrogen and phosphorus cycles. These elements are essential nutrients for phytoplankton growth, and their availability can influence the amount of carbon dioxide that the ocean can absorb. Changes in these cycles, whether due to natural processes or human activities, can have cascading effects on the ocean's carbon cycle and ultimately on the Earth's climate. Think about the vastness of the ocean and the immense scale of these processes. The carbon cycle is a continuous, interconnected web, constantly moving carbon between the atmosphere, the ocean surface, the deep ocean, and the sediments. It's a dynamic system, constantly responding to changes in the environment. As you drift further into sleep, imagine yourself as a carbon atom, embarking on a journey through the ocean. You start in the atmosphere, then dissolve into the surface waters. You're taken up by a tiny phytoplankton cell, then consumed by zooplankton. Eventually, you sink down into the deep ocean as part of marine snow, slowly making your way to the ocean floor, where you'll be buried in sediments for millennia. The ocean's carbon cycle is a testament to the interconnectedness of all things on Earth. It's a reminder that even the smallest organisms play a vital role in regulating our planet's climate. So, as you close your eyes and let your mind wander, remember the ocean's tireless work, absorbing carbon dioxide and maintaining the balance of our world. Sleep well and dream of the deep blue sea. And as that carbon atom rests on the ocean floor, consider the immense pressure, the near freezing temperatures, and the profound darkness. Here, in this realm of perpetual night, decomposition occurs at a glacial pace. Organic matter, the remnants of life from above, slowly breaks down, releasing nutrients back into the deep sea environment. This process, driven by bacteria and other microorganisms, is crucial for sustaining the unique ecosystems that thrive in these depths. Some of the carbon becomes locked away in the sediments, effectively removed from the active carbon cycle for geological timescales, perhaps to re-emerge millions of years from now through volcanic activity or tectonic uplift. But not all carbon remains buried forever. Upwelling, a process where deep, nutrient-rich waters rise to the surface, brings carbon back into contact with the atmosphere and the sunlit surface waters. This upwelling is driven by winds and ocean currents, and it's particularly prominent along coastlines. These upwelled waters fertilize surface waters, fueling phytoplankton blooms and restarting the cycle anew. Think of it as a giant conveyor belt, transporting carbon from the depths back to the surface, where it can once again interact with the atmosphere and the biosphere. The interplay between sinking and upwelling is critical for understanding the ocean's role in regulating global climate. The biological pump, the process by which carbon is transported from the surface to the deep ocean, relies on the efficiency of sinking organic matter. Conversely, upwelling determines how much of that sequestered carbon is returned to the surface, where it can potentially escape back into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. The balance between these two processes determines whether the ocean acts as a net sink or a net source of carbon dioxide. Now, consider the role of marine organisms beyond phytoplankton and zooplankton. Deep-sea corals, for example, build their skeletons from calcium carbonate, incorporating carbon into their structures. These coral reefs, though less well known than their shallow water counterparts, provide habitat for a diverse array of life and contribute to carbon sequestration on the ocean floor. Similarly, shellfish and other marine invertebrates create shells from calcium carbonate, effectively locking away carbon for as long as those shells remain intact. And let's not forget about the role of viruses. Yes, even viruses play a part in the ocean's carbon cycle. Viral infections can cause phytoplankton cells to rupture, releasing their carbon-rich contents into the water. This process, known as viral lysis, can either promote the formation of marine snow, accelerating the sinking of carbon, or release dissolved organic matter that fuels microbial activity in the surface waters. The impact of viruses on the carbon cycle is a complex and actively researched area, highlighting the intricate web of interactions that governs these processes. As you continue to relax, imagine the sheer diversity of life in the ocean, from the smallest microbes to the largest whales, all playing their part in the carbon cycle. Each organism, each process contributes to the intricate dance of carbon atoms as they move through the ocean. It's a symphony of biogeochemical reactions, constantly reshaping the ocean's chemistry and influencing the Earth's climate. The ocean's carbon cycle is not static. It's constantly evolving in response to changes in the environment. As human activities continue to release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, the ocean is absorbing a significant portion of this excess carbon. While this helps to mitigate the effects of climate change, it also has consequences for the ocean itself. The absorption of carbon dioxide is causing ocean acidification, which can harm marine organisms, particularly those that build shells and skeletons from calcium carbonate. The future of the ocean's carbon cycle is uncertain, but one thing is clear: it's a critical component of the Earth's climate system. Understanding the complexities of this cycle is essential for predicting the impacts of climate change and for developing strategies to protect our oceans. So, as you drift off to sleep, remember the vastness and complexity of the ocean and the vital role it plays in regulating our planet's climate. Let the gentle rhythm of the waves lull you into a peaceful slumber, knowing that even in your sleep, the ocean is working tirelessly to maintain the balance of our world. Sweet dreams, and may your thoughts be as deep and boundless as the ocean itself. Ocean acidification, driven by the increased uptake of atmospheric carbon dioxide, poses a significant threat to marine ecosystems. Imagine the delicate shells of tiny plankton, the foundation of the marine food web, slowly dissolving in increasingly acidic waters. Coral reefs, vibrant underwater cities teeming with life, are particularly vulnerable. The calcium carbonate structures that form the backbone of these reefs are weakened, making them more susceptible to erosion and less able to recover from disturbances like storms and bleaching events. This cascade effect can disrupt entire ecosystems, impacting fish populations, coastal protection, and even human livelihoods that depend on healthy oceans. The intricate balance of the ocean's chemistry is being altered, and the consequences are far-reaching. But the ocean is not merely a passive recipient of our carbon emissions. It's a dynamic system with remarkable capacity for adaptation and resilience. Scientists are actively exploring various strategies to enhance the ocean's natural ability to absorb and store carbon. One promising approach is ocean afforestation, which involves cultivating seaweed forests in carefully selected areas. Seaweed, like terrestrial plants, absorbs carbon dioxide during photosynthesis, and when it dies and sinks to the seafloor, it can sequester that carbon for long periods of time. Another avenue of research focuses on enhancing ocean alkalinity, which involves adding minerals to the water to increase its capacity to absorb carbon dioxide. These interventions, while still in their early stages, offer a glimpse of the potential for harnessing the ocean's power to combat climate change. Think about the vastness of the deep ocean, a realm of perpetual darkness and immense pressure. Here, carbon can be stored for centuries, even millennia, effectively removing it from the atmosphere. The sinking of marine snow, the accumulation of organic matter on the seafloor, and the burial of carbon-rich sediments all contribute to this long-term carbon sequestration. The deep ocean is a vast reservoir, a silent guardian of our planet's climate. The processes that occur in this hidden world are slow and subtle, but their cumulative impact on the global carbon cycle is profound. Understanding these processes is crucial for predicting the long-term fate of the carbon dioxide we are emitting into the atmosphere. Consider the role of marine organisms in this deep-sea carbon sequestration. The skeletons and shells of tiny creatures, like foraminifera and coccolithophores, are made of calcium carbonate. When these organisms die, their remains sink to the seafloor, forming layers of sediment that can eventually turn into limestone. This process, known as biogenic sedimentation, is a major pathway for removing carbon from the surface ocean and storing it in the Earth's crust. Over geological timescales, the ocean has played a critical role in regulating the Earth's climate by sequestering vast amounts of carbon in this way. The ocean's carbon cycle is a complex and interconnected system, a delicate dance between biology, chemistry, and geology. It's a story of microscopic plankton and colossal whales, of surface currents and deep-sea trenches, of sunlight and darkness. It's a story that is still being written, a story that we are all a part of. As you drift deeper into sleep, let your mind wander through the ocean's depths, imagining the countless processes that are constantly shaping our planet's climate. Remember the importance of understanding and protecting this vital ecosystem, for the health of the ocean is inextricably linked to the health of our planet. Allow the gentle sounds of the ocean to soothe you, carrying you away to a peaceful and restorative sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the deep, and may you wake up refreshed and ready to face the day. Now, let's turn our attention to the chemical processes at play. The solubility pump, for instance, is a crucial mechanism for transporting carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the deep ocean. Cold water can hold more dissolved gases than warm water. Therefore, as surface waters cool in polar regions, they absorb atmospheric carbon dioxide. This cold, carbon-rich water then sinks and flows towards the equator, effectively transporting carbon into the deep ocean. This process is particularly significant in the North Atlantic and around Antarctica, where the formation of deep water masses drives global ocean circulation. Furthermore, the pressure in the deep ocean also plays a role in carbon sequestration. Under immense pressure, carbon dioxide becomes even more soluble, enhancing its ability to remain dissolved in the water. This effect, combined with the low temperatures, ensures that the deep ocean can store vast quantities of carbon for extended periods. The chemical reactions that occur in the sediment further contribute to this long-term storage. For example, the presence of sulfate in the sediment can lead to the anaerobic oxidation of methane, a potent greenhouse gas, producing carbon dioxide and sulfide. This process effectively converts methane into a less harmful form of carbon, preventing it from escaping into the atmosphere. Let's not forget the role of hydrothermal vents in the deep sea carbon cycle. These underwater geysers, found along mid-ocean ridges, release chemicals from the Earth's interior into the ocean. While they are often associated with the release of carbon dioxide, they also support unique chemosynthetic ecosystems. Bacteria and archaea around these vents use chemicals like hydrogen sulfide and methane to produce energy, forming the base of a food web that sustains a diverse community of organisms. These organisms, in turn, contribute to the cycling of carbon in the deep ocean. The overall impact of hydrothermal vents on the global carbon cycle is still a subject of ongoing research, but it's clear that they play a significant role in the biogeochemistry of the deep sea. The deep ocean is not a static environment. It's a dynamic and ever-changing realm where the processes of carbon cycling are constantly unfolding. The interaction between physical, chemical, and biological factors creates a complex web of interactions that regulate the flow of carbon through this vast reservoir. As we continue to study the deep ocean, we are gaining a deeper appreciation for its importance in regulating the Earth's climate. We are also learning about the potential impacts of human activities on this delicate balance. The increasing levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere are leading to ocean acidification, which can have profound effects on marine organisms, particularly those that build shells and skeletons out of calcium carbonate. Understanding these impacts is crucial for developing strategies to mitigate the effects of climate change and protect the health of our oceans. As you continue to relax and prepare for sleep, visualize the intricate dance of carbon atoms as they move through the ocean's depths. Feel the vastness and mystery of this hidden world, and remember the importance of preserving its delicate balance. Let the calming thoughts of the ocean's deep embrace you, guiding you into a night of restful and rejuvenating sleep. Sweet dreams. The ocean's biological pump, driven by the activities of countless marine organisms, is a critical component of this carbon cycle. Phytoplankton, microscopic plants drifting near the surface, absorb carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. This process forms the foundation of the marine food web. As these tiny organisms are consumed by zooplankton, small animals that graze on the phytoplankton. As these organisms are eaten by larger creatures, the carbon taken up by the phytoplankton moves up the food chain. Much of this carbon is eventually respired back into the water as carbon dioxide. However, a significant portion sinks to the deep ocean in the form of dead organisms and fecal pellets, collectively known as marine snow. This constant rain of organic matter provides a vital source of food for the organisms that inhabit the deep sea floor. The carbon that reaches the seafloor can be buried in sediments, effectively removing it from the active carbon cycle for thousands or even millions of years. The efficiency of the biological pump is influenced by a variety of factors, including nutrient availability, water temperature, and the composition of the plankton community. In regions where nutrients are abundant, phytoplankton blooms can occur, leading to a large transfer of carbon to the deep ocean. However, in nutrient-poor regions, the biological pump may be less efficient. Changes in ocean temperature and acidity can also affect the growth and survival of marine organisms, potentially altering the amount of carbon that is sequestered in the deep ocean. The ocean also acts as a massive reservoir for dissolved inorganic carbon, DC, which includes carbon dioxide, bicarbonate, and carbonate ions. The concentration of deep sea and seawater is much higher than the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, making the ocean a significant sink for atmospheric carbon dioxide. The exchange of carbon dioxide between the atmosphere and the ocean is governed by the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in each medium. When the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is higher than that in the ocean, carbon dioxide will dissolve into the ocean. Conversely, when the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the ocean is higher than that in the atmosphere, carbon dioxide will be released from the ocean. This exchange is influenced by temperature, salinity, and ocean circulation patterns. Colder water can hold more dissolved gas than warmer water, so the polar regions tend to absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere than the tropics. Ocean currents also play a role in transporting carbon dioxide from the surface to the deep ocean. The deep ocean is a vast and relatively unexplored realm, and our understanding of the carbon cycle in this environment is still evolving. Scientists are using a variety of tools and techniques to study the biogeochemistry of the deep sea, including remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, and sophisticated chemical sensors. These technologies are allowing us to explore the deep ocean in unprecedented detail and to gain new insights into the complex processes that regulate the flow of carbon through this critical ecosystem. As you drift further into sleep, imagine the silent, unseen work of these tiny creatures, the slow, steady currents carrying carbon through the depths, and the vast, interconnected web of life that makes our planet so unique. Let the rhythm of the ocean lull you into a peaceful slumber, knowing that even in your sleep, the ocean continues its vital work, maintaining the balance of life on Earth. Rest easy and dream of the deep. The biological pump is another crucial component of the ocean's carbon cycle, acting as a pathway for transferring carbon from the surface ocean to the deep sea. This process begins with photosynthesis by phytoplankton, microscopic marine plants that use sunlight and carbon dioxide to create energy and biomass. These phytoplankton form the base of the marine food web, supporting a diverse array of organisms, from tiny zooplankton to large marine mammals. When phytoplankton and the animals that consume them die, their organic matter sinks down through the water column. As this organic matter descends, it is consumed and broken down by bacteria and other organisms, a process known as remineralization. This remineralization releases carbon dioxide back into the water, increasing the concentration of dissolved inorganic carbon in the deep ocean. A portion of the sinking organic matter escapes remineralization in the upper water column and reaches the seafloor. This organic carbon can then be buried in sediments, effectively removing it from the active carbon cycle for thousands or even millions of years. The amount of carbon that is buried in sediments is relatively small compared to the amount that is remineralized, but over geological timescales, this process plays a significant role in regulating atmospheric carbon dioxide levels. Think of it as a very, very slow leak in a giant carbon sink, slowly sequestering carbon away from the atmosphere and surface ocean. Furthermore, consider the role of marine organisms in the transport of carbon. Many marine animals, like whales and fish, undertake vertical migrations, feeding in surface waters and then descending to deeper waters to release waste or die. This process, known as marine snow, contributes to the transport of carbon to the deep ocean. Whale falls, the carcasses of whales that sink to the seafloor, are also hotspots of carbon sequestration, providing a concentrated source of organic matter for deep-sea scavengers and decomposers. These whale falls can support unique ecosystems for decades, enriching the deep-sea environment and contributing to the long-term burial of carbon. The ocean's carbon cycle is also influenced by geological processes. Volcanic activity on the seafloor releases carbon dioxide and other gases into the ocean, while the weathering of rocks on land and the subsequent transport of dissolved minerals to the ocean can affect the ocean's alkalinity and its capacity to absorb carbon dioxide. The formation and dissolution of carbonate minerals, such as calcium carbonate, also play a role in regulating the ocean's carbon chemistry. These minerals are formed by marine organisms, such as corals and shellfish, and their shells and skeletons accumulate in sediments, contributing to the long-term storage of carbon. Scientists are actively researching the impacts of climate change on the ocean's carbon cycle. As atmospheric carbon dioxide levels rise, the ocean is absorbing more carbon dioxide, leading to ocean acidification. This acidification can have significant consequences for marine organisms, particularly those that build shells and skeletons from calcium carbonate. Ocean warming is also affecting the carbon cycle, as warmer water holds less dissolved gas and can alter ocean circulation patterns. Changes in ocean circulation can affect the distribution of nutrients and the productivity of phytoplankton, which in turn can impact the biological pump and the amount of carbon that is transported to the deep ocean. Understanding these complex interactions is crucial for predicting the future of the ocean's carbon cycle and its role in regulating climate change. So, as you continue to relax, envision the vastness of the ocean, from the sunlit surface waters teeming with life to the dark, mysterious depths where carbon is stored for centuries. Picture the intricate web of processes that govern the flow of carbon through this vital ecosystem. The tiny phytoplankton capturing carbon dioxide through photosynthesis, the slow descent of organic matter to the seafloor, and the silent work of bacteria and other organisms breaking down this matter and releasing carbon back into the water. Let the gentle rhythm of the waves and the quiet hum of the ocean lull you into a deeper state of relaxation, knowing that even as you sleep, the ocean is working tirelessly to maintain the balance of life on Earth. Breathe deeply and drift off to sleep, dreaming of the deep blue sea. Now, let's delve a bit deeper into the fascinating world of marine sediments. These seemingly inert layers on the ocean floor are actually dynamic archives of the ocean's past and key players in the long-term carbon cycle. Over geological timescales, the accumulation of these sediments, rich in organic carbon and carbonate minerals, effectively locks away vast quantities of carbon, preventing it from re-entering the atmosphere. Think of it as a planetary carbon sink, slowly but surely sequestering carbon for millennia. The composition of these sediments can tell us a great deal about past ocean conditions, including temperature, salinity, and the abundance of marine life. By studying sediment cores, scientists can reconstruct past climate patterns and gain valuable insights into how the ocean's carbon cycle has responded to natural climate variability in the past. This information is crucial for understanding how the ocean might respond to future climate change. Furthermore, consider the role of hydrothermal vents, those fascinating geological features found along mid-ocean ridges. These vents release chemicals from the Earth's interior into the ocean, including methane and other carbon compounds. While they're a relatively small component of the overall carbon cycle, they create unique ecosystems that thrive on chemosynthesis, a process where microbes use chemical energy to produce organic matter. These chemosynthetic communities, in turn, support a diverse array of life, from tube worms to shrimp, further highlighting the interconnectedness of life and the carbon cycle, even in the most extreme environments. The carbon released from hydrothermal vents can also be incorporated into marine sediments or oxidized by microbes, adding another layer of complexity to the ocean's carbon cycle. Let's also consider the fascinating realm of dissolved organic matter, or DOM. This vast pool of organic carbon, composed of a complex mixture of molecules, is produced by phytoplankton, bacteria, and other marine organisms. DOM is a crucial food source for marine microbes and plays a vital role in the biological pump. Some DOM is readily consumed by microbes, while other fractions are more resistant to degradation and can persist in the ocean for centuries or even millennia. This recalcitrant DOM can be transported over long distances by ocean currents and eventually sequestered in the deep ocean. The fate of DOM is a subject of ongoing research, as scientists seek to understand the factors that control its production, degradation, and ultimate fate. Understanding the dynamics of DOM is crucial for predicting how the ocean's carbon cycle will respond to future environmental changes. And finally, reflect upon the immense scale of the ocean itself. The sheer volume of water, coupled with its complex circulation patterns, creates a vast and interconnected system that distributes carbon around the globe. Deep ocean currents, driven by differences in temperature and salinity, transport carbon-rich waters from the surface to the deep ocean and back again. This slow but steady circulation plays a critical role in regulating the ocean's carbon cycle and influencing global climate. Changes in ocean circulation can have profound impacts on the distribution of nutrients, the productivity of marine ecosystems, and the amount of carbon that is sequestered in the deep ocean. As you drift further into sleep, picture these massive currents slowly but surely moving carbon around the planet, a testament to the power and complexity of the ocean. So, breathe deeply, let go of any remaining tension, and allow the gentle rhythm of the ocean's carbon cycle to guide you into a peaceful and restful sleep. Good night. Now, before we completely surrender to sleep, let's consider the role of marine sediments in the long-term storage of carbon. As organic matter sinks through the water column, a portion of it eventually reaches the seafloor, where it accumulates in sediments. These sediments act as a significant carbon sink, effectively removing carbon from the active carbon cycle for extended periods. The rate of carbon burial in sediments varies depending on factors such as the productivity of the overlying waters, the depth of the ocean, and the composition of the sediment itself. In areas with high productivity, such as coastal regions and upwelling zones, large amounts of organic matter can be deposited on the seafloor, leading to high rates of carbon burial. Over geological timescales, these sediments can be transformed into sedimentary rocks, such as limestone and shale, which represent vast reservoirs of carbon. The carbon stored in marine sediments and sedimentary rocks plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate over millions of years. Think, too, about the fascinating interplay between the ocean's carbon cycle and the geological processes that shape our planet. Volcanic activity, for instance, releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, some of which eventually dissolves in the ocean. Weathering of rocks on land also contributes to the ocean's carbon inventory, as rainwater dissolves minerals and transports them to the sea. These geological inputs of carbon are balanced by processes such as the formation of carbonate minerals in the ocean and the subduction of carbon-rich sediments at plate boundaries. The ocean's carbon cycle is thus intimately linked to the Earth's geological cycle, and understanding these interactions is essential for comprehending the long-term evolution of the Earth's climate. Imagine the slow, relentless forces of plate tectonics, constantly reshaping the Earth's surface and influencing the flow of carbon between the ocean, atmosphere, and land. And let's not forget the influence of human activities on the ocean's carbon cycle. The burning of fossil fuels, deforestation, and other human activities have significantly increased the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, leading to ocean acidification. As the ocean absorbs excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, its pH decreases, making it more acidic. Ocean acidification can have detrimental effects on marine organisms, particularly those that build shells and skeleton from calcium carbonate, such as corals, shellfish, and plankton. The impacts of ocean acidification are far-reaching and could potentially disrupt entire marine ecosystems. It is crucial that we take action to reduce our carbon emissions and mitigate the effects of ocean acidification to protect the health and resilience of the ocean. Consider the delicate balance of the ocean's chemistry and the profound consequences of disrupting that balance through our actions. Finally, let's appreciate the interconnectedness of all these processes within the ocean's carbon cycle. From the smallest phytoplankton to the largest whales, from the surface waters to the deepest trenches, every component of the marine environment plays a role in regulating the flow of carbon. The ocean's carbon cycle is a complex and dynamic system, constantly adapting to changing conditions. Understanding the intricacies of this cycle is essential for predicting how the ocean will respond to future environmental challenges and for developing strategies to protect this vital resource. As you continue to relax, visualize the intricate web of interactions that make up the ocean's carbon cycle, a testament to the interconnectedness of life on Earth. Let the image of this vast and dynamic system fill your mind as you drift off to sleep, knowing that even in your dreams, the ocean continues its tireless work of regulating our planet's climate. Sweet dreams. The ocean's carbon cycle also interacts with other biogeochemical cycles, such as the nitrogen and phosphorus cycles. These elements are essential nutrients for phytoplankton growth, and their availability can influence the rate of carbon fixation through photosynthesis. For example, in some regions of the ocean, nitrogen is a limiting nutrient, meaning that its scarcity restricts phytoplankton growth and, consequently, carbon uptake. Similarly, the availability of iron, a micronutrient, can also limit phytoplankton productivity in certain areas. Understanding these nutrient limitations is crucial for accurately modeling the ocean's carbon cycle and predicting its response to future environmental changes. The interplay between these cycles creates a complex web of interactions that governs the overall health and productivity of the marine environment. Moreover, the ocean's carbon cycle is not uniform across all regions. Different areas of the ocean exhibit distinct characteristics that influence the cycling of carbon. For instance, upwelling zones, where nutrient-rich waters from the deep ocean are brought to the surface, are often highly productive areas with high rates of carbon fixation. Conversely, the subtropical gyres, characterized by stable, stratified waters and low nutrient concentrations, are relatively less productive. The Arctic Ocean, with its unique sea ice cover and cold temperatures, also exhibits a distinct carbon cycle. As sea ice melts due to climate change, it can alter the stratification of the water column, affecting nutrient availability and carbon uptake. Understanding these regional differences is essential for accurately assessing the overall role of the ocean in regulating the global carbon cycle. Let's delve a little deeper into the microbial processes that underpin much of the oceanic carbon cycle. Marine microbes, including bacteria, archaea, and viruses, play a crucial role in the transformation and cycling of carbon in the ocean. They are responsible for breaking down organic matter produced by phytoplankton and other organisms, releasing dissolved organic carbon, DOC, back into the water column. This DOC can then be further processed by other microbes, either being respired back into carbon dioxide or incorporated into microbial biomass. This microbial loop is a fundamental component of the ocean's carbon cycle, influencing the fate of a significant portion of the organic carbon produced in the surface ocean. Viruses, in particular, play a key role in regulating microbial populations through lysis, the process by which they infect and kill microbial cells, releasing their cellular contents back into the water. These viral lysis events can significantly impact the cycling of carbon and nutrients in the ocean. Think now about the long-term storage of carbon in the ocean. A fraction of the organic carbon produced in the surface ocean eventually sinks to the deep ocean, where it can be stored for centuries or even millennia. This process, known as the biological pump, is a critical mechanism for sequestering carbon from the atmosphere and mitigating climate change. The efficiency of the biological pump is influenced by various factors, including the size and sinking rate of organic particles, the rate of remineralization in the water column, and the depth of the ocean. Some of the organic carbon that reaches the seafloor is buried in sediments, where it can be stored for geological timescales. The sediments act as a long-term carbon sink, effectively removing carbon from the active carbon cycle. The deep ocean, therefore, represents a vast reservoir of carbon, playing a crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. As you relax even further, consider how scientists study the ocean's carbon cycle. Oceanographers employ a wide range of techniques to investigate the complex processes involved in the cycling of carbon in the ocean. They use research vessels to collect water samples and deploy instruments to measure various parameters, such as temperature, salinity, nutrient concentrations, and carbon dioxide levels. They also use satellites to monitor ocean color and phytoplankton biomass from space. These data are then used to develop and refine models of the ocean's carbon cycle, which can help us to understand how the ocean will respond to future environmental changes. Tracers, such as radioactive isotopes, are also used to track the movement of carbon through the ocean. These tracers provide valuable insights into the rates of various processes, such as carbon uptake, transport, and storage. Through these diverse approaches, scientists are continually improving our understanding of the ocean's carbon cycle and its role in regulating the Earth's climate. Now, with each breath, imagine the vastness and complexity of the ocean, teeming with life and continuously cycling carbon. Visualize the microscopic phytoplankton capturing sunlight and converting carbon dioxide into organic matter. Picture the zooplankton grazing on phytoplankton, transferring carbon up the food web. Envision the sinking particles of organic matter, carrying carbon to the deep ocean. See the microbes breaking down organic matter, releasing nutrients and carbon dioxide back into the water. Feel the interconnectedness of all these processes working together to regulate the Earth's climate. As you drift deeper into sleep, let the gentle rhythm of the ocean waves wash over you, carrying away any remaining tension or stress. Allow yourself to be lulled into a peaceful slumber, knowing that the ocean is working tirelessly to maintain the delicate balance of our planet. Sweet dreams, and may your rest be as deep and tranquil as the ocean itself. The ocean's carbon cycle isn't just a story of biology and chemistry. It's also a story of physics. Ocean currents, driven by winds and differences in water density, play a crucial role in transporting carbon around the globe. Surface currents, like the Gulf Stream, move warm, carbon-rich waters from the equator towards the poles. As this water cools, it becomes denser and sinks, carrying carbon into the deep ocean through a process known as downwelling. Conversely, in other regions, deep, carbon-rich waters rise to the surface through upwelling, releasing carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. This constant circulation acts like a giant conveyor belt, distributing carbon and nutrients throughout the ocean and influencing regional climate patterns. The speed and intensity of these currents are also influenced by climate change, leading to complex feedback loops that scientists are still working to fully understand. Changes in ocean stratification, where layers of water with different densities form, can also affect the efficiency of the biological pump by limiting the transport of nutrients from deep waters to the surface, impacting phytoplankton growth and carbon uptake. Think about the immense pressure at the bottom of the ocean crushing down on everything. Even at these depths, life persists and carbon continues its journey. Microbes, specially adapted to these extreme conditions, break down the organic matter that sinks from above, releasing carbon dioxide and nutrients. Some of this carbon is incorporated into the sediments that accumulate on the seafloor, forming a vast reservoir of organic carbon that can remain buried for millions of years. In some areas, methane hydrates, a form of frozen methane trapped within ice-like structures, also exist within these sediments. These hydrates represent a significant potential source of carbon, and their stability is sensitive to changes in temperature and pressure. Understanding the dynamics of these deep-sea carbon reservoirs is critical for predicting the long-term fate of carbon in the ocean and its potential impact on the Earth's climate. Consider the role of marine organisms in forming calcium carbonate shells and skeletons. Creatures like corals, shellfish, and plankton extract calcium and carbonate ions from seawater to build their protective structures. When these organisms die, their shells and skeletons sink to the seafloor, accumulating as calcium carbonate sediments. Over geological timescales, these sediments can be transformed into limestone, a major carbon reservoir. However, ocean acidification, caused by the absorption of excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, threatens this process. As the ocean becomes more acidic, it becomes more difficult for marine organisms to build and maintain their calcium carbonate structures, potentially impacting marine ecosystems and the long-term storage of carbon in the ocean. So, as you continue to relax, imagine the delicate balance of these processes, all interconnected and working together to regulate the Earth's climate. Visualize the intricate dance of carbon atoms, moving between the atmosphere, the ocean surface, the deep sea, and the seafloor sediments. Think about the countless organisms, from the smallest microbes to the largest whales, playing their part in this global cycle. Feel the vastness and power of the ocean, a truly awe-inspiring force of nature. Let your mind wander through the depths, exploring the mysteries of the deep sea and the hidden pathways of carbon. Allow yourself to be carried away by the gentle currents, drifting further and further into a peaceful and restful sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean and the beauty of the natural world. Sleep soundly, knowing that the ocean is there, silently and tirelessly working to sustain life on Earth. Now, let's delve a little deeper into the microbial realm, a world teeming with life and playing a pivotal, yet often overlooked, role in the ocean's carbon cycle. Microbes, including bacteria and archaea, are the unsung heroes of the deep sea. They're the primary drivers of decomposition, breaking down organic matter that sinks from the surface waters. This process, known as microbial respiration, releases dissolved inorganic carbon back into the water column, making it available for other organisms or for eventual upwelling back to the surface. Some microbes even utilize unique metabolic pathways, like methanogenesis, to produce methane, a potent greenhouse gas, from organic matter. While most of this methane is consumed by other microbes before it reaches the atmosphere, a small fraction can escape, contributing to global warming. Beyond decomposition, certain microbes are also capable of fixing carbon dioxide, converting it into organic matter through chemosynthesis. This process is particularly important in deep-sea hydrothermal vents and cold seeps, where sunlight is absent. These unique ecosystems rely on chemical energy, rather than solar energy, to fuel primary production. Chemosynthetic microbes form the base of the food web, supporting a diverse array of organisms that thrive in these extreme environments. They essentially create oases of life in the otherwise barren depths, playing a crucial role in the overall carbon cycle by incorporating inorganic carbon into biomass. Consider also the role of viruses in the ocean's carbon cycle. These tiny entities, often thought of solely as pathogens, are incredibly abundant in seawater and play a significant role in regulating microbial populations. Through viral lysis, viruses infect and kill bacteria and other microbes, releasing their cellular contents back into the water. This process, known as the viral shunt, diverts organic matter away from the traditional food web, making it available to other microbes and influencing the overall flow of carbon in the ocean. The viral shunt can increase the efficiency of carbon cycling, preventing organic matter from being sequestered in larger organisms and promoting its decomposition and remineralization. Now, as you drift closer to sleep, picture the vastness of the abyssal plains, the flat, sediment-covered regions that make up the majority of the deep sea floor. These plains are a graveyard of sorts, where the remains of countless organisms accumulate over time. The organic matter that reaches the seafloor is slowly decomposed by microbes, releasing nutrients back into the water column. The sediments themselves also act as a long-term carbon reservoir, trapping organic carbon and preventing it from returning to the atmosphere for centuries or even millennia. The composition and properties of these sediments can influence the rate of carbon sequestration and the overall efficiency of the ocean's carbon cycle. Think about the intricate interplay between physical processes like ocean currents and mixing and biological processes like photosynthesis and respiration in shaping the distribution and cycling of carbon in the ocean. Upwelling, for example, brings nutrient-rich deep water to the surface, fueling phytoplankton growth and enhancing carbon uptake from the atmosphere. Conversely, downwelling transports surface water, along with its dissolved carbon, to the deep sea, effectively sequestering it away from the atmosphere. These physical and biological interactions are constantly at play, regulating the flow of carbon throughout the ocean and influencing the Earth's climate. So, as you continue to relax, imagine the slow, relentless movement of carbon atoms through the deep ocean, a journey that can take centuries or even millennia. Visualize the countless organisms, from the smallest microbes to the largest whales, playing their part in this intricate cycle. Think about the delicate balance of these processes and how they are being affected by human activities. Feel the vastness and power of the ocean, a truly awe-inspiring force of nature. Let your mind wander through the depths, exploring the mysteries of the deep sea and the hidden pathways of carbon. Allow yourself to be carried away by the gentle currents, drifting further and further into a peaceful and restful sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean and the beauty of the natural world. Sleep soundly, knowing that the ocean is there, silently and tirelessly working to sustain life on Earth. And tomorrow, perhaps you'll remember just a little bit more about the fascinating, complex, and vitally important ocean carbon cycle. Good night. And as you drift further down, consider the role of marine snow. Imagine a gentle blizzard of organic particles slowly descending through the water column. These particles, composed of dead phytoplankton, zooplankton fecal matter, and other organic debris, are a crucial link between the surface ocean and the deep sea. As they sink, they provide a vital source of food for deep sea organisms, fueling entire ecosystems in the dark, nutrient-poor depths. Bacteria diligently decompose this marine snow, releasing dissolved organic matter and inorganic nutrients back into the water, further contributing to the carbon cycle. Think of it as a slow, continuous rain of life, nourishing the abyss and shaping the biogeochemistry of the deep ocean. Now, let's delve a little deeper beyond the sunlit layers and into the realm of the seafloor. Here, in the abyssal plains, the carbon cycle takes on a different character. The sediments that blanket the ocean floor are a vast reservoir of organic carbon, accumulated over millennia. These sediments are not static. They are teeming with microbial life. These tiny organisms, bacteria and archaea, break down the complex organic molecules, a process that can release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. However, a significant portion of the carbon is buried and sequestered in the sediments for incredibly long periods, effectively removing it from the active carbon cycle. The rate of carbon burial depends on various factors, including the sedimentation rate, the organic matter content, and the activity of benthic organisms, creatures that live on and in the seafloor. Consider the fascinating world of methane hydrates, also known as fire ice, which are found in vast quantities beneath the seafloor and within permafrost regions. These ice-like structures trap methane, a potent greenhouse gas, within their crystalline lattice. The formation and stability of methane hydrates are highly sensitive to temperature and pressure changes. As the ocean warms due to climate change, there's a risk that these hydrates could destabilize, releasing large amounts of methane into the atmosphere, potentially accelerating global warming. Understanding the dynamics of methane hydrates and their role in the ocean's carbon cycle is crucial for predicting future climate scenarios. Think about the deep ocean currents, the slow but powerful rivers that flow beneath the surface. These currents play a vital role in redistributing carbon, nutrients, and heat around the globe. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC, for instance, transports warm surface water northward and cold, deep water southward, influencing climate patterns across the northern hemisphere. This circulation also carries dissolved inorganic carbon from the surface to the deep ocean, effectively sequestering it away from the atmosphere. Changes in the strength and stability of these currents can have profound impacts on the ocean's carbon cycle and the Earth's climate system. And as you continue to relax, imagine the sheer scale of the ocean, its immense volume, and its incredible capacity to absorb and store carbon. Picture the countless interactions between physical, chemical, and biological processes that govern the ocean's carbon cycle. Think about the delicate balance of these processes and how they are being disrupted by human activities, such as the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation. These activities are releasing vast amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, leading to ocean acidification, warming waters, and changes in ocean circulation patterns. These changes, in turn, are affecting the ocean's ability to absorb and store carbon, potentially leading to further climate change. So, as you drift off to sleep, remember the vital role that the ocean plays in regulating the Earth's climate. Appreciate the intricate beauty and complexity of the ocean's carbon cycle, a system that has been shaped by billions of years of evolution. And consider the importance of protecting this precious resource for future generations. Let your mind wander through the depths, exploring the hidden pathways of carbon and the wonders of the deep sea. Allow yourself to be carried away by the gentle currents, drifting further and further into a peaceful and restful sleep. May your dreams be filled with the wonders of the ocean and the beauty of the natural world. Sleep soundly, knowing that the ocean is there, silently and tirelessly working to sustain life on Earth. And tomorrow, perhaps you'll remember just a little bit more about the fascinating, complex, and vitally important ocean carbon cycle. Sweet dreams. Now let's delve a little deeper into some of the key players in this oceanic carbon ballet. Think about the phytoplankton, those microscopic algae that drift near the surface, harnessing the power of sunlight through photosynthesis. They're the foundation of the marine food web and also crucial carbon fixers. As they photosynthesize, they absorb carbon dioxide from the water, converting it into organic matter. When they die or are consumed by zooplankton, this carbon can take several paths. Some sinks down as marine snow, a continuous shower of organic detritus, feeding life in the deep ocean. Some is respired by bacteria and other organisms, releasing carbon dioxide back into the water. But a significant portion gets buried in the sediments, effectively locking it away for millennia, even geological timescales. Consider the role of marine animals, from tiny copepods to massive whales. They all contribute to the carbon cycle in their own way. Zooplankton graze on phytoplankton, transferring carbon up the food chain. Fish consume zooplankton and other fish, further concentrating carbon. Marine mammals, like whales, play a vital role in nutrient cycling. When they feed at depth and then defecate near the surface, they release nutrients that stimulate phytoplankton growth, effectively fertilizing the ocean and enhancing carbon uptake. This process, known as the whale pump, is a fascinating example of how large marine animals can influence the ocean's carbon cycle. And then there are the coral reefs, vibrant ecosystems teeming with life. Corals are tiny animals that secrete calcium carbonate skeletons, forming the intricate structures that we know as reefs. This process of calcification removes carbon dioxide from the water, incorporating it into the reef structure. However, ocean acidification, caused by the absorption of excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, is making it more difficult for corals to build and maintain their skeletons, threatening the health and survival of these vital ecosystems. Think also about the seabed itself. The deep ocean floor is covered in layers of sediment, a mixture of organic matter, mineral particles, and the remains of countless marine organisms. This sediment acts as a vast carbon sink, storing away carbon for long periods. Under certain conditions, this organic matter can be transformed into fossil fuels, such as oil and gas, a process that takes millions of years. The extraction and burning of these fossil fuels release this stored carbon back into the atmosphere, further disrupting the Earth's carbon cycle. As you continue to relax, let your mind wander to the vast, unexplored depths of the ocean. Imagine the slow, relentless processes that are constantly shaping the ocean's carbon cycle. Picture the intricate web of interactions between living organisms, chemical compounds, and physical forces. Think about the delicate balance of this system and how it is being affected by human activities. Visualize the potential consequences of these changes and the importance of finding solutions to protect this vital resource. Envision a future where we can restore the health of the ocean and ensure that it continues to play its crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. Allow yourself to be lulled by the gentle rhythm of the ocean waves, the soft murmur of the currents, and the silent whispers of the deep. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the mattress, the tension melting away from your muscles. Let your mind drift further and further into a state of peaceful relaxation, carried away by the wonders of the ocean and the mysteries of the deep sea. Sleep deeply, knowing that you are connected to this vast and intricate system, a system that sustains all life on Earth. And as you dream, may you find inspiration and hope in the beauty and resilience of the natural world. Sweet dreams, and may you awaken refreshed and renewed, ready to face the day with a greater appreciation for the ocean and its vital role in our lives. Now, let's drift a little further into the chemical processes that govern the ocean's carbon cycle. Consider the role of pH, a measure of acidity and alkalinity. The ocean naturally absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, which reacts with seawater to form carbonic acid. This process lowers the ocean's pH, a phenomenon known as ocean acidification. While the ocean has a remarkable buffering capacity, meaning it can resist changes in pH to some extent, the sheer amount of carbon dioxide we're pumping into the atmosphere is overwhelming this natural defense. Ocean acidification poses a significant threat to marine life, particularly organisms with calcium carbonate shells and skeletons, such as corals, shellfish, and plankton. These creatures struggle to build and maintain their structures in more acidic waters, potentially disrupting entire marine ecosystems. Think about the intricate interplay between temperature and carbon solubility. Colder water can dissolve more carbon dioxide than warmer water. This is why the polar regions play a crucial role in absorbing atmospheric carbon. As ocean currents transport cold, carbon-rich water towards the tropics, it warms up and releases some of this carbon back into the atmosphere. This process is a natural part of the carbon cycle, but it's being altered by global warming. As the ocean warms, its ability to absorb carbon dioxide decreases, further accelerating climate change. And what about the role of trace elements? Elements like iron, nitrogen, and phosphorus are essential nutrients for marine phytoplankton. Iron, in particular, is often a limiting nutrient in many ocean regions, meaning that its availability controls phytoplankton growth. When phytoplankton have access to sufficient nutrients, they can absorb more carbon dioxide from the atmosphere through photosynthesis. Scientists are exploring the possibility of iron fertilization, deliberately adding iron to the ocean to stimulate phytoplankton blooms and enhance carbon sequestration. However, this approach is controversial, as it could have unintended consequences for marine ecosystems. Consider, too, the impact of ocean currents on carbon distribution. The ocean is a vast, interconnected network of currents that transport heat, nutrients, and carbon around the globe. The overturning circulation, also known as the thermohaline circulation, is a major driver of the ocean's carbon cycle. This circulation involves the sinking of cold, dense water in the polar regions and the upwelling of nutrient-rich water in other areas. As this water circulates, it carries carbon from the surface to the deep ocean, where it can be stored for centuries. Changes in the overturning circulation, driven by climate change, could disrupt this process and affect the ocean's ability to absorb carbon dioxide. Now, as you continue to relax, imagine the vastness of the deep ocean, a realm of perpetual darkness and immense pressure. Picture the slow, steady rain of organic matter falling from the surface waters, nourishing the creatures that dwell in the abyss. Think about the hydrothermal vents, volcanic hot springs that spew out chemicals from the Earth's interior, supporting unique ecosystems that thrive in the absence of sunlight. These vents also release carbon dioxide into the ocean, contributing to the overall carbon cycle. Visualize the immense pressure compressing the water, the silent movement of deep-sea currents, and the patient accumulation of sediment on the ocean floor. As your breathing deepens, let your mind wander to the future of the ocean's carbon cycle. Imagine a world where we have successfully reduced our carbon emissions and are actively working to restore the health of the ocean. Picture the coral reefs teeming with life, the phytoplankton blooming in abundance, and the deep ocean acting as a stable and reliable carbon sink. Think about the innovative technologies and policies that will be needed to achieve this vision, and the collective effort that will be required to protect this vital resource for future generations. Envision a future where the ocean is once again a vibrant and thriving ecosystem, playing its crucial role in regulating the Earth's climate. Let the gentle sounds of the ocean wash over you, carrying away any remaining stress or tension. Feel the warmth of your blankets, the softness of your pillow, and the comfort of your bed. Allow yourself to drift deeper and deeper into a state of peaceful slumber, knowing that you are connected to the ocean and its intricate carbon cycle. Sleep soundly, and may your dreams be filled with the beauty and wonder of the natural world. Sweet dreams, and may you awaken refreshed and inspired, ready to contribute to a more sustainable future for our planet.